So a lot of you guys have asked me, Antonio, what did you learn in the United States Marine Corps that you apply to your life and business today? Well, it's a great question. And in today's video, 10 leadership principles I picked up in the United States Marine Corps. So to start things off, I want to thank the staff and COs, the officers, and the Marines that I had the privilege to lead for teaching me these principles. The first and most important leadership principle I learned is by example. You lead by example, not by telling people what to do. That's a boss. A leader is in front showing people what they're capable of. For me, it's about setting a high standard for myself and then meeting that standard, because when you meet that standard, then you have the right to demand it from others. So when you lead by example, you never ask anything of anyone that you wouldn't do yourself. Now, oftentimes you're not in a position that you can do it. You've got a team, you've got 20 people, 100 people, 5 people working for you. And yes, they need to do that specific task. And sometimes they're going to get their hands dirty. Sometimes it's not fun. But what you need to show is occasionally get down into the trenches. Gentlemen, I'm going to be straight. Leading by example is not easy. If it was, everybody would do it. When you set that high standard, you've got to live up to it. But when you do, it's an amazing feeling and worth all the work. Next up, gents, we've got honor. This is the ultimate in ethical and moral behavior. Honor means you have an uncompromising code of integrity and you respect human dignity. You give respect to other human beings because you realize we're all in this together. Gentlemen, for a man to have honor, he needs to act responsibly. He needs to be held accountable for his actions and he needs to fulfill his obligations. The next leadership characteristic is courage. Now there's 3 types: physical, mental, and moral courage. Let's start with physical. So this is where you push your body beyond what you think you can actually do. So I remember having to throw 70 pounds on my back, take an M16 along with some extra rounds for the mortars. Had to carry this on a forced march of about 25 miles. Very brisk pace. Point is that you can do more than what you think you can do. And when you put yourself in that situation, you realize, hey, most of the problems you face in life, they're just made up by our mind. And you realize that you have the strength to be anything you want. Next up, let's talk about mental courage. And that's when you've got to make a decision. You've got to take action. You don't have all the right information. You haven't slept much. You are under a lot of stress. And guess what? It looks like failure is imminent, but you still got to make a decision. You still have to take responsibility for that decision. And that's what I loved about the Marine Corps, is they put you in all these situations in which it was very tough. And most likely you weren't actually going to make it, but you still had to move forward. You couldn't fall into analysis paralysis. You had to make a decision the best you could with the information you had. Now, this next type of courage is possibly the most important, and that is moral courage. Moral courage is doing what is right when nobody's watching, when nobody's going to know. But here's the deal, is that sounds simple, but it's so difficult, especially when your butt's on the line. I remember we're on ship. I'm missing one of my Marines. I'm missing a Lance Corporal on the boat. We've got all hands on deck formation, and I'm missing one of my guys. Now, I could have said, oh, he's off doing this other duty. I could have covered for him. But here's the deal. That's a mistake, because who knows? Maybe he got knocked off of the deck. I mean, maybe he's out in the water. Who knows what's going on? But the truth is, I need to report what I do know. You've got to make sure you do what is right when no one's watching, because guess what? You're watching. This is about your character. This is about you doing what you know to be correct. Next up, we've got commitment. That's the spirit of dedication, the spirit of determination for you to accomplish mission. Because if you're not committed, then you're not going to see things through to the end. Oftentimes you got these fair weather people, these fair weather leaders. They're willing to lead when everything's going great. But you want people that are committed, not only to the good times, but to the down times when things are bad. There's this great saying on a poster, and it says, smooth sailing never made a skilled sailor. And that's the same for leaders. You're going to go through the ups and downs, and what's going to get you through is commitment. Next up, a leader should respect history, should respect tradition. Now, I'm not saying you can't change anything, and I'm not saying be a slave to those things. But what I am saying is understand, why are things done in this way? What's the history here? What's the tradition? Because the people in the organization that work this day to day, they've got their reasoning. They're smart people. They set things up in a certain way. And when you change things, people lose their identity. And this is big. In the Marine Corps, it was all about history. It was all about tradition. We understand the parts of the uniform. We understand when our birthday was, when the Marine Corps was founded, 1775, my Marine Corps came alive. And you know what that does? When you know the history, when you understand something, you have respect for it. You just learn to love it. And it's something you're willing to fight for. And that's what you want when you take over a company. You want people that are willing to fight for that company. You want their fighting spirit to help get through what you need to get through. So the next two leadership principles I'm going to talk about are self-reliance and teamwork. And I'm going to actually talk about how they actually work with each other because they seem opposite. But with self-reliance, the Marine Corps had what were known as Marine Expeditionary Units. 5,000 Marines and sailors that could be projected anywhere in the world. We're talking they had air power, they had tanks, they had AAVs, they had ground troops. These guys could go into any place they wanted and make things happen. It was pretty impressive. It was a self-reliant unit. That's powerful. And you want to make sure when you're leading people that they are self-reliant, that they aren't so dependent on others, that if they don't have somebody, if someone were sick, if someone were to quit the company, that you haven't lost two people. Now, let's talk about teamwork. The thing is, you're more powerful when you work with the team. So with the Marine Corps, you work with the Army, you start doing special operations with the Navy, with the Chair Force. I mean, you guys, Air Force, you know I love you, air power, but with the Coast Guard, you start working with joint units. All of a sudden, the power level doesn't just double up. It actually becomes a multiple of that. So self-reliance is great, but whenever you bring in a team of self-reliant individuals, all of a sudden the whole is much greater than the sum of the parts. The next leadership principle I picked up in the Marines is make sure that everyone understands the commander's intent. The commander's intent is what you want to happen. Basically, it's the big picture. It's why are we doing what we're doing? Because here's the deal, is that oftentimes people get lost in the woods. They're doing all this work and they start to go off in this direction. Other people are going off in this direction. Imagine a boat. You got people rowing in different directions. Are you going to go anywhere? No, you've got to make sure that everyone understands the direction that we're going and they row in that direction. And not only that, they understand that sometimes where you're going is going to shift, is going to change. If the leaders in an organization don't recognize this, if they don't understand, the goal is not just to sell a lot, it's actually to make money, to make a profit for the business. Yeah, you may have sold a lot, but if you sell a lot at a discount, you end up losing money, and then all of a sudden the company goes out of business because the commander's intent was not understood. That is to create a profitable business, just not just a business that sells a lot. The next leadership principle, good leaders take the initiative. And not only do they take the initiative, they make sure that everyone around them understands that it's good to take the initiative. I'm never going to be upset with anyone for taking the initiative and doing work that they thought needed to get done. If you're a leader in an organization and people are waiting on you, guess what? They're always going to be waiting on you. They're not going to find things to actually need to get done. But all of a sudden, when you've got people around you, everyone's looking for something to do. Everyone's looking for a problem to solve. Sometimes you're going to have people go a little bit too far. You give them too much leash and they go out there and you got to reel them back in. But here's the deal, is that's a much better problem to have than have people that are all sitting in the rear waiting for you to actually tell them what to do. And now let's talk about the leadership principle of the right mindset. You've got to have the mindset that you can accomplish anything, that obstacles are there to stop other people, not you. If you believe you can do something or you believe you can't, you are probably right. And here's the deal, is sometimes it's bad. I remember one time we had to get into this ice. We had to break the ice on the water before we jump into that mud. And we had to go out. It seemed like it was like 100 meters under barbed wire. This was not going to be fun. It was cold. We just gotten out of our warm beds. And I can tell you, this was going to suck. And there was a guy, Lavodi. You know what he said? Embrace the suck. And he's the first one jumping in. And he's singing and having fun and screaming going in there. And you know what? We all followed him. That is a leader. When you know you got to do something, it's not going to be fun, but you just do it anyway. And you get through it, you realize, okay, this will be a good story after we're through. You've got to approach things with that mindset because work is called work for a reason. But it's the men and the women that go through this, that make things happen, that are actually at the end of the day are going to stand up and are going to be satisfied with their own accomplishments in life. Now, in today's video, gents, I talked about the principles of being a good leader. But what if you just want to be a gentleman? You just want to be a modern gent. Well, guys, I got you covered with this video right here, the art of being a modern gentleman. Now, some of the things I talked about in today's video, I also talk about in this video, but I talk about a lot more. So if you're interested in this type of thing, go check out this video. I'm linking to it down in the description. All right, gentlemen, now it's your turn. I want to hear from you down in the comments. What'd you think of the video? How could I have made it better? What did I miss? Let me know down there in the comments, guys. And if you like the video, click on that like button. If you're new to Real Men, Real Style, make sure to click on that subscribe button. If you want to get those notifications, click on that bell icon. And gentlemen, don't forget, down in the description of all of my videos, I put tons of useful resources, free apps, free ebooks. I've even got a new dictionary, a style dictionary that you can download with an audio, with a PDF, so that you can learn all the important words that you need to understand about men's style. That's it, gentlemen. Take care. I'll see you in the next video.